Amora Nwosu had never been the type of woman who suspected her husband of anything. For 7 years, she and Darlington had built a marriage that looked steady from the outside. They were the couple everyone pointed at during weddings, saying, "These two are proof that love still exists." They laughed together. They prayed together. They behaved as if nothing could ever shake their home. And for years, Amora believed that. But something changed recently. Darlington had grown distant. Not aggressively, not in a way she could point at and accuse him of wrongdoing, but in the tiny, almost invisible ways. The late-night phone calls he would decline while smiling too quickly. The sudden weekend business meetings. The increased gym hours despite the fact that he never liked exercise. The new cologne she didn't buy. The locked phone. The quieter dinners. Amora had told herself it was stress. Men go through phases. Work pressure. Life pressure. But the intuition buried deep in her chest kept vibrating like a trapped alarm. She had been in Abuja for a 3-day work conference. Her return flight was supposed to be 5 p.m., but the conference ended earlier than expected. She changed her ticket, grabbed her handbag, and took a noon flight back to Lagos. On the plane, she smiled quietly to herself. Darlington loved surprises, and she imagined walking into the house to see him relaxing in the living room, maybe watching Premier League highlights. She pictured his shocked expression, his warm hug, the laughter that always came whenever she caught him off guard. She craved that closeness again. She missed him. She missed them. The ride from the airport was peaceful. The sun was high. Lagos traffic wasn't too terrible. Her heart beat with excitement as she pulled into the estate. She waved at the gate security, entered her compound, and dragged her carry-on luggage quietly so it wouldn't make noise on the marble floor of the veranda. She wanted the moment to be perfect. She slipped off her heels, held them in her hand, and walked barefoot to the front door. She inserted her key very slowly, turning the lock with the gentleness of someone preparing to whisper boo. As she pushed open the door quietly, she felt a soft breeze from the air conditioning. The house smelled different. Not necessarily suspicious, just different. A faint scent of cinnamon mixed with something floral. Not her scent. Not something she recognized. She entered fully, still smiling, still expecting to shout surprise. But something made her pause. There were voices, soft, whispering, from upstairs, from their bedroom. Her smile faded a little. She dragged her suitcase aside and slowly climbed the stairs, each step careful. Not because she expected anything bad, but because she wanted the surprise to land perfectly. When she reached the bedroom corridor, she froze. The door to their bedroom was slightly open. Just slightly. Enough for a faint light to leak out. Enough for voices to slip through. And then she heard it. Darlington's voice. Calm. Low. Speaking in a tone she had not heard in months. Relax. Don't worry. She won't be back until evening. Amora's breath caught. Her heart pounded so loudly it felt like the walls could hear it. She stood rooted to the spot. Her hand trembled as she pushed the door open a little wider. And that was when she saw a silhouette move across her dressing table. A female silhouette. Her heart almost stopped. She pushed the door open fully. Darlington! Her voice cracked. Both figures turned sharply. Her husband froze. His eyes widened. And the woman stood in a panic, her hand shaking, tears in her eyes, wrapped in a towel. Time froze in that instant. Amora's chest tightened. She felt tears burning her eyes. Everything inside her screamed at once. Betrayal, confusion, rage, fear, shock. Her mind couldn't process quickly enough. Her mouth was dry, her breath shallow. The stranger whispered, panicked, "Amora, please, it's not what you think. Please." But that only made her chest explode with heat. How did the stranger know her name? How long had she been in her house? How long had she been in her marriage? And why did Darlington look less guilty and more terrified? Everything Amora thought she knew about her marriage shattered in 1 second. And this was only the beginning. Amora felt like she had stepped into someone else's life. The shock was too sharp to settle, too heavy to ignore. She stood there in the doorway, numb yet burning, staring at Darlington and the half-naked woman clutching a towel to her chest. Her brain was trying to run in 10 directions at once, but her body refused to move. "Amora, please, Darlington whispered, voice shaking slightly. Listen to me. Listen, she repeated quietly. To what? To you? Or to the women in my towel? Adeora's chin trembled. Her eyes glistened with tears that kept collecting but didn't fall. Ma, I'm so sorry, she whispered. I didn't want this. I didn't even want to come here. You shouldn't be speaking to me, Amora snapped. My husband should be. Darlington ran a hand over his face, pacing a little like a man being suffocated by decisions he didn't make carefully. The bedroom smelled like her vanilla diffuser, mixed with an unfamiliar floral scent that wasn't haze. It made her chest sting even more sharply. He finally turned to her. Amora, I made a terrible choice. Not what you think. I should have called you. I should have told you everything. I know. I panicked. You brought a strange woman into my home, she said slowly, painfully, into my bedroom, and you're calling it panic. Darlington swallowed hard. I didn't bring her here for anything intimate. Amora laughed bitterly. She's half naked, Darlington. Adeora clutched her towel tighter. Ma, please. I didn't mean. Don't. Amora held up a hand. Not yet. The woman nodded, tears finally dropping. Something about those tears bothered Amora. They weren't seductive, manipulative, sly tears. They were the tears of a woman genuinely terrified of something bigger than this confrontation. Who are you? Amora finally demanded, turning to Adeora. The girl hesitated. My name is Adeora Chukwu. I'm a hairdresser at Elagushi. I didn't ask for your CV, Amora said sharply. I asked why you're in my home. Adeora inhaled shakily. I was running, she said. Running for my life. Silence. Darlington stepped forward slightly. Babe, let me explain before she continues. No, Amora said quietly. I want to hear her version first. Adeora's shoulders sagged with relief. She sat slowly on the edge of the bed, still trembling. This morning, she whispered, I went to deliver a wig to a customer. When I got there, someone grabbed me from behind and forced me inside the house. It was a customer's husband. He tried to force himself on me. Amora felt her stomach twist. The pain in Adeora's voice was real. Too real. I fought him, Adeora continued. I pushed him. He hit me. I ran. He chased me with 2 other men. I ran into the street screaming, but nobody stopped. Everyone just stared. She covered her face and cried quietly. Amora's anger didn't fade completely, but something inside her cracked open with empathy. Adeora looked up again. Your husband was the only one who stopped. He opened his car door and told me to get in. He saved me. Darlington nodded silently. Amora still felt a sting. So you brought her here? Why not a hospital? A police station? A friend's house? Anywhere else? Adeora flinched. Ma, the man who chased me, he works with the police. He kept shouting that he'd teach me a lesson. I knew if I went to the station, they would say I tempted him. Amora stared at her. Her breathing softened slightly. Her heart didn't know if it wanted to clench or relax. Darlington continued, voice lower now. I didn't want to bring her here. I swear. But she was bleeding. Her lip was swollen. She needed a safe place. I didn't know where else to go. She begged me not to leave her anywhere close to her home or any police station. He paused, and I knew if I called you immediately, it would look exactly like this. Amora bit her lower lip. He was right about one thing. This moment looked terrible. But the fear in Adeora's eyes, the way Darlington couldn't even look at her directly because of guilt. Something wasn't adding up in a cheating narrative. Where are your clothes? Amora asked the girl. Adeora pointed weakly to the bathroom. In the tub. They were dirty and torn. Your husband told me to wash up just so I could breathe. Did he touch you? Amora asked quietly. Adeora shook her head frantically. No. God forbid. He stayed at the door the whole time. He didn't come in. He was respectful. Ma, I swear with my life. Darlington nodded immediately. It's true, Amora. The room felt colder now, not from the AC, but from the weight of the truth forming around her. Her husband hadn't cheated, but he had lied. He had hidden something huge. He had involved their home. He had made decisions without her. He had created a situation that shattered her trust even if his intentions were good. Amora exhaled deeply. "I don't forgive you," she said slowly. "Not yet, and not easily, but I'm starting to see that this isn't another woman drama." She looked at Adaora. "It's something else." Something was. Adaora nodded desperately. Amora leaned back, overwhelmed, and somewhere deep inside, she felt it. This story was only beginning, and whatever chased Adaora might not be done with her. Amora was still shaking when she left the bedroom. She needed air. The walls felt like they were suffocating her. She walked downstairs, each step echoing through the silent house. Her mind was a hurricane of betrayal, confusion, fear, and reluctant empathy. Darlington was behind her in seconds. "Amora, please." She spun around sharply. "Don't talk yet. I need to breathe." He stopped immediately, hands hanging uselessly at his sides. She stepped into the living room, pacing in slow circles. The house felt unfamiliar now. The walls, the furniture, the pictures of them smiling, everything suddenly felt like props in a story she wasn't controlling anymore. Darlington approached carefully. "I'm sorry. Truly. I should have told you." "Why didn't you?" she asked quietly, without turning. "Because," he said, voice tight, "I didn't want to drag you into something dangerous. I didn't even know what I was dealing with." The way those men looked at her, the threats they screamed, it didn't feel like an ordinary assault case. A chill ran through Amora. "What do you mean?" Darlington exhaled. The man chasing her, the one she said tried to rape her, he wasn't some random predator. He had a gun. He had handcuffs. He had police tags. He looked like someone who believed he could get away with anything. Amora turned slowly. "He's a police officer." "Yes." The room froze. Her heart dropped into her stomach. "That changes everything," she whispered. Darlington nodded. "Exactly why I panicked." Amora moved to the window instinctively and parted the blinds. The outside looked calm. Birds hopping on the fence. A neighbor's generator humming. Nothing looked out of place. But she felt watched, felt exposed. "What if they followed you?" she asked. Darlington swallowed. "I didn't see anyone behind me." Amora turned fully. "You were rushing. You weren't thinking clearly. Did you even check? Did you take alternate routes? Did you notice any bikes or cars trailing you?" Darlington's silence was the loudest answer. Amora's panic surged through her veins. "Oh my God, Darlington. You might have brought danger to our house." Darlington's voice cracked slightly. "I'm sorry." "Stop saying sorry." Amora snapped. "Sorry doesn't protect anyone." She paused, forcing her breathing to slow down. She wasn't trying to destroy him. She was scared. Too scared to think rationally. She lowered her voice. "Where's her phone?" Darlington pointed upstairs. "Broken." She said the officer smashed it. "Where are her things?" "In my car." Amora nodded slowly. "Okay, we need to think this through. Not emotionally. Not foolishly." Darlington stared at her, relieved that she wasn't shutting down completely. She walked to the center of the living room. "Let's start from the beginning," she said. "Tell me everything exactly as it happened." Darlington nodded instantly. "I was driving past Jacan," he began, "just returning from the carpentry shop. I saw a girl running, shouting for help. 2 men were chasing her. One had a belt in his hand. The other had something metallic. She ran into the road. Car swerved. I stopped. She yanked open my door before I even unlocked it fully. She was bleeding, lips swollen, shirt torn." Amora swallowed. "I started driving off immediately," he continued. "The 2 men started shouting, 'Bring her down.' She's running." One of them flashed a police badge and yelled, "That girl is under arrest." Amora's heart skipped. Under arrest? A hairdresser? Darlington continued. She screamed that he tried to rape her. She sounded terrified. She kept crying, "Don't let them catch me. They'll kill me." Amora clenched her jaw. "I didn't know where to take her," Darlington said. The girl was shaking uncontrollably, saying, "If you drop me anywhere near police station, I'm dead." Amora rubbed her temples. This wasn't simple. It wasn't ordinary. It was dangerous. Where is she now? Amora asked quietly, still in the room. Amora sighed. Good. She needed to finish her story. Darlington nodded, then lowered his voice. There's something else. Amora tensed. What? When we were close to the estate, he said carefully, she told me the officer's name. Amora waited. It's someone you know. Her stomach turned. Darlington continued quietly. Inspector Chibuza. Amora froze. Her knees almost buckled. Her throat tightened. Her eyes widened in pure disbelief. No, she whispered. That can't be possible. Inspector Chibuza. The same officer who lived 2 streets away. The same man her estate saw as disciplined, respected, strict, even friendly. Their neighbor, a married father of 2. Her skin crawled. That meant danger wasn't far away. Danger was close. Too close. Amora's voice was a whisper. Darlington, this is bad. He nodded. Very, very bad. The knock came again. Harder, more aggressive. The kind of knock that demanded obedience, not permission. Boom, boom, boom. Every muscle in Amora's body locked in place. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. The room felt too small, too bright, too exposed. Ada Aura crawled backward instinctively until her spine hit the wardrobe. She hugged her knees to her chest, trembling violently. Ma, please, she whispered. Please don't let him in. Please. Darlington's face changed instantly. His calm expression dissolved into panic. He moved toward the window and peered through a tiny crack in the blinds. His voice came out quiet but urgent. It's him. Amora felt her stomach twist. She moved toward Darlington, trying to see for herself. But the moment she caught a shadow of the man at the gate, she stepped back sharply. Inspector Chibuza stood there boldly in full police uniform, hands clasped behind his back, his estate access card hanging from his pocket. He didn't look worried. He didn't look frantic. He looked confident. Too confident. Darlington whispered, What do we do? The knock came again, louder now. Open this gate. Ada Aura buried her face in her hands. Amora forced herself to think. She needed to be calm, smart, strategic. Fear couldn't make decisions for her. Darlington, she whispered, did he see you enter the estate? Darlington swallowed. I don't know. The gate knocked again, this time accompanied by a voice. Darlington, I know you're inside. Open up. Amora's blood froze. How does he know you're here? She demanded. Darlington looked confused. Maybe someone saw me pick her. Maybe someone told him. I don't know. Amora paced once, twice, then stopped sharply. Listen, she said, lowering her voice. Do not open that gate. Darlington nodded instantly. Ada Aura whispered, He'll break in. He's capable of anything. Not in this estate, Amora said quickly. Security will intervene. But even as she said it, she wasn't entirely sure. Inspector Chibuza wasn't an ordinary man. He was known, respected, connected. If he accused him of harboring a criminal, the estate might even help him search. Another knock, another booming shout. Darlington, I need to ask you something. Open this gate. Amora felt her hand sweat. What if he lies? Darlington asked quietly, What if he says we kidnapped her? Or stole something? Or obstructed police work? Amora inhaled slowly, exhaled sharply. We're not opening the gate, she repeated firmly. Not until we know why he's here and what he wants. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She flinched. Darlington whispered, Who is it? She picked it up with trembling fingers. Unknown number. Message. Open that gate, Mrs. Nwosu. Now. Her heart shattered into ice. He knew her name. He knew her number. He knew she was inside. Adeora's breath hitched loudly. Ma, if he gets me, I'm dead. Amora's vision blurred for half a second. She steadied herself immediately. "We're not handing you over," she said firmly. Ada broke down again. Darlington whispered, "What do we do now?" Amora's mind raced like a machine. She couldn't call the regular police. They were likely in his pocket. She couldn't call their security. They respected him too much. She couldn't call friends. She didn't want to drag anyone else into this danger. Then an idea sparked. Her cousin, Chiamaka, a lawyer, not just any lawyer, a human rights bulldog, fearless, connected, loud where it mattered. "Darlington," she whispered, "lock the back door. Turn off the lights downstairs. Move quietly." He nodded and moved quickly, shutting doors, clicking locks silently. Amora grabbed a phone and dialed Chiamaka immediately. The line rang once, twice, 3 times. "Please pick up. Please. Please." Chiamaka answered. "Amora, you okay?" No time for long explanations. "I need help," Amora whispered urgently. "Now. An officer is at my gate. A girl he assaulted is inside my house. He's demanding access." Chiamaka's tone changed instantly. "Send me your location. Lock all doors. Do not open to anybody. I'm coming with 2 colleagues." Amora sent their pin. Suddenly, a loud voice thundered outside the gate. "If you don't open this gate in the next 1 minute, I will enter by force." Ada whimpered. Darlington stiffened. Amora turned towards the door, eyes sharp, voice steady. "Let him try." But inside her chest, her heart was shattering from fear. This wasn't a marriage issue anymore. This was survival, and the battle had just begun. Inspector Chibuza's voice thundered across the compound again. 1 minute. If this gate doesn't open, I will enter by force." Every word felt like a hammer slamming against Amora's chest. Ada flinched so violently her back hit the wardrobe. Darlington stood by the stairs frozen, his fists clenched, breathing hard through his nose. Amora moved to the window again, her fingers trembling as she lifted the blinds just enough to peek. Chibuza stood at the gate with the arrogant confidence of a man who had never been told no in his life. His uniform was crisp, his boots shone. His hands were behind his back like someone posing for an intimidation poster. A man like that wasn't bluffing. She turned quickly to Darlington. "Did you lock the back door?" "Yes." "What about the kitchen exit?" "Bolted." "The balcony?" "Secured." The knock came again. Boom, boom, boom. Chibuza barked. "Darlington, I'm giving you the last chance to do this the easy way." Ada covered her ears and sobbed silently. Amora sat beside her gently and held her shoulders. "Look at me," she whispered. Ada lifted her head slowly, tears streaking down her cheeks. "You're safe here," Amora said with a calm she didn't feel. "Nobody is handing you over. Nobody is letting him touch you again." Ada nodded weakly, though her entire body trembled like a trapped animal. Darlington walked closer, voice low but steady. "Amora, what if he breaks a gate?" Amora swallowed. "He won't. Not yet. He's expecting you to panic and run outside. That's how men like him operate." "Men like him," Darlington repeated bitterly. "He looked so normal every time we saw him. He even smiled with us." "Predators always look normal," Amora said sharply. "That's their survival strategy." Then suddenly, a loud siren wailed outside. Ada screamed and grabbed Amora's arm. Darlington's heart nearly leaped out of his chest. But Amora stood quickly and peeked again. A white police pickup truck pulled up outside the estate gate. 3 officers in uniform were inside. They weren't estate officers. They weren't random patrol. They were his men. He called backup. Her blood ran cold. Chibuza turned to them and pointed at the house. She could hear his voice faintly through the window. "That's the house. I saw the suspect enter earlier. She's hiding inside." Darlington whispered sharply. "This is bad. This is really bad." Amora snapped back, locked the bedroom door. "Now." He ran upstairs immediately. Amora turned to Ada. "Get under the bed." Ada didn't argue. She slid under immediately, her breathing shallow and fast. Moments later, heavy footsteps approached the gate. Chibuza shouted, "Open this gate." It's police business. Estate security finally appeared, confused and unsure. Ogre Inspector, what is happening? Chibuza flashed his badge dramatically. A criminal ran into this compound. I trailed her here. She's inside that house. I need immediate access. Estate security hesitated. But sir, we must call the homeowner first. You think I don't know the homeowner? Chibuza barked. Darlington, come out here now. Amora clenched her jaw. Darlington was upstairs pacing like a caged lion. The police officers stepped forward, already gripping the gate. The estate guards looked intimidated. Amora whispered to herself, Come on, Chiamaka, hurry up. Her phone buzzed. A message from Chiamaka. 10 minutes away. Hold on. 10 minutes felt like 10 years. Outside, Inspector Chibuza was losing patience. He screamed, Security, stand aside. I will enter by force. This is an order. The guards moved back, terrified. Chibuza grabbed the gate handle. Amora's heart stopped. This was it. This was a line. And she wasn't ready for what would cross it. The metallic clank of the gate rattling echoed through the compound like a war drum. Chibuza yanked the handle aggressively, testing the strength of the lock, testing their fear. Inside the house, Amora felt sweat gather on the back of her neck. She wasn't prepared for violence. She wasn't prepared for a corrupt officer with backup. But she was prepared to protect the broken girl hiding under her bed. Darlington sprinted downstairs. He's trying to force the gate. I know, Amora said breathlessly. Don't go outside. Don't open anything. Don't talk to him. Let me handle this. Another violent shake. Another metallic slam. Chibuza shouted again. If this gate doesn't open, I'll arrest all of you for harboring a fugitive. Amora marched to the intercom, pressed the talk button, and spoke with a calm she forced from her soul. Ogre Inspector, why are you banging on my gate? Silence. Absolute silence. Even the police officers paused. Then slowly, Chibuza stepped back and faced the speaker. Madam Amora, he said, switching to a disturbingly polite tone. Good afternoon. Darlington whispered sharply, his pretending, Snake. Amora pressed the intercom button again. Good afternoon. Why are you trying to force open my gate? Chibuza smiled smugly. She could hear it in his voice. Your husband picked up a criminal on the road. We need to take her in. Oh, Amora said calmly. What crime did she commit? Chibuza snapped. Madam, open the gate first. Amora didn't flinch. I asked a question. Answer it. Chibuza scoffed. She is a prostitute who stole. That's a lie. Amora cut in sharply. And I have witnesses that you tried to assault her. The entire compound went silent. Chibuza's voice turned cold. Madam, be very careful with your words. Amora's pulse raced, but her tone remained steady. I am very careful. That girl is under my roof. She's injured, terrified, and she said you tried to rape her. Gasps from the estate guards. Even Chibuza didn't hide his shock this time. You're interfering with police business, he snapped. This is a federal offense. No, Amora countered. Protecting a victim is not a federal offense. Chibuza motioned to his officers. Break the gate. Darlington gasped. He's crazy. Amora grabbed his arm. Don't panic. Trust me. She pressed the intercom again. Before you break anything, she said, let me inform you that I've already contacted a human rights lawyer. She's on her way with media backup. Chibuza froze. She continued, voice razor sharp. And if you enter my property illegally, your entire career ends today. The officers hesitated. Chibuza clenched his jaw. Women like you don't scare me, he hissed. Amora smiled coldly. You should be scared of the law you claim to represent. A car screeched outside. All heads turned. A red Toyota Camry parked in front of the estate. The back door flew open. Chiamaka stepped out in a crisp black suit, sunglasses on, hair braided tightly, holding a file and phone like weapons. Behind her, two journalists emerged with cameras. Chibuza's eyes widened. Oh, so you're bad news, Darlington whispered to Amora. Professional troublemaker, she replied proudly. Chiamaka marched toward the gate like she owned the earth. "Officer Chibuza," she called loudly, "step away from the gate before I personally record your misconduct." The estate guards instantly stepped aside for her. Chibuza stiffened. "Barrister, this doesn't concern you." "Oh, it concerns me very well," she said, pulling out a legal document. "Because when a girl calls me saying a police officer assaulted her, I take it personally." One journalist pointed the camera at him. Another captured a police truck. Chibuza panicked. "Turn off that camera." The journalist replied, "Public space. Everything here is legal." Chiamaka smirked. "Now then, shall we continue?" Chibuza swallowed. Amora felt the first wave of relief wash over her. The fight wasn't over, but the tides had shifted. Chiamaka stood directly in front of the gate, body posture fierce enough to silence everyone, including Inspector Chibuza. She flicked her wrist, and one of the journalists immediately angled the camera closer. "Officer," she said loudly, "state exactly why you're here." Chibuza clenched his jaw. Darlington peeked from behind the curtain inside the house. Amora stood by his side, watching the entire scene unfold like a movie. Chibuza attempted a neutral tone. "A suspect fled into this property. I'm here to apprehend her." Chiamaka raised her hand. "Suspect? Name her offense." She stole." "Full statement. Officer," Chiamaka insisted. "This is being recorded. Speak responsibly." Chibuza wiped his forehead. She stole valuable from a client." Chiamaka smiled. "Interesting. Did the alleged client file a formal complaint?" Chibuza hesitated. "No, but—" "Did you file a report?" "No, because—" "Did you obtain a warrant?" "Barrister." "Did the homeowner BG you to enter?" she pressed. Chibuza snapped. "No, but the criminal is inside." Chiamaka took one step closer, her voice icy. "So you entered an estate without a warrant, chased a girl without backup, assaulted her." "I didn't assault her." "And now," she continued fearlessly, "you're attempting forced entry into a private residence without ANY legal grounds." The camera zoomed in on his face. He froze. One journalist asked loudly, "Officer, is it true you attempted to sexually assault the victim?" Chibuza's eyes widened in fury. "Lies! All lies." Chiamaka turned to the journalists. "We have a statement from the victim already. Recorded, dated, timed." Amora smiled proudly. She hadn't known. Clearly, Chiamaka worked fast. Chibuza's voice cracked. "There is no victim here." Chiamaka smirked. "Exactly, because she is safe inside, away from you." A murmur rippled through the watching security guards. Chiamaka continued, louder now. "Officer, I am ordering you, in the presence of witnesses and law, to leave this premises immediately. Failure to comply will be documented as an abuse of power." Chibuza stepped forward aggressively. "Barrister, you're playing with your license." "So are you playing with your badge," she replied softly, "and I guarantee you will lose yours before I lose mine." The officers behind him shifted nervously. One whispered, "Oga, make we go. Camera's day." Chibuza hissed, "Shut up." Amora could see the panic rising in him. He wasn't used to being challenged publicly. The presence of cameras unsettled him. He took one step back, then another. Chiamaka folded her arms. "Leave, officer, now." Chibuza glared at the gate, at the house, at the cameras. "This isn't over," he shouted finally. "Correct," Chiamaka replied. "It's not, but we'll finish it legally." He stormed into the police truck. The officers quickly followed. The truck reversed fast and sped off. The moment it turned the corner, Chiamaka turned off her lawyer mode and exhaled heavily. No one should have this much stress on a Friday afternoon. Amora and Darlington bolted downstairs and ran outside. Security opened the gate and let them out immediately. Amora hugged Chiamaka tightly. "Thank you," she whispered with tears in her eyes. Chiamaka shook her head. "Don't thank me. Thank the camera. That's the real weapon." Darlington added, "We owe you everything." Chiamaka winked. "You owe me Suya and Chapman." Then her face turned serious again. "Where's the girl?" Amora whispered, "Inside." "Good. We're not done. We need her full statement, pictures of her injuries, and we must move her to a safe location." Amora nodded quickly. Chiamaka adjusted her sleeves. "Let's finish this." The war had begun. They all hurried back inside the house. The moment the door shut, Adaora crawled out from under the bed, shivering like someone who had seen a ghost. She ran straight to Amora and hugged her waist tightly. "Ma, thank you," she cried. "Thank you. I thought he would kill me." Amora stroked her hair gently. "You're safe now." Chiamaka knelt beside her and examined her injuries carefully. "Your lip is bruised. Chest is scratched. Your wrist was held tightly. Any pain in your ribs?" Adaora nodded. Chiamaka's eyes darkened. "This is assault, clear as daylight." Darlington hovered near the bed. "We need to get her to a hospital." "No." Adaora panicked. "Hospitals report police cases. They'll call him." Chiamaka nodded. "She's right. Government hospitals are risky. Private ones, too. We'll take pictures ourselves." She turned to Amora. "Get me your phone." Amora handed it over. Chiamaka photographed every injury with legal precision. Different angles, proper lighting, timestamps. Then she said, "Adaora, I need your full account. Everything. No fear." Adaora told the story again, this time with more detail. Chiamaka listened like a surgeon, careful, precise, recording everything. When she finished, Chiamaka stood. "She cannot stay here," she said firmly. "Now that he knows, he might come back when it's dark. Victims of powerful abusers don't stay in predictable places." Amora swallowed. "So where do we take her?" Chiamaka pulled out her phone. "I know a safe house. Quiet. Undisclosed. Run by women." Adaora's eyes widened with fear. "Will they hide me?" "Yes. And protect you. You'll be with other girls, survivors, who escaped worse." Adaora trembled. "Ma, will you visit me?" Amora touched her cheek softly. "Yes. You're not alone." Darlington nodded. "We'll help you rebuild. You're safe." Adaora sobbed again. Chiamaka picked up her bag. "Let's move now, before anyone returns." Darlington grabbed his car keys. "No," Chiamaka said. "Your car is already known. They traced you here. We use mine." They moved quickly. Lights off, curtains pulled. Silence. Adaora wore a hoodie Amora gave her. She kept her head low. Chiamaka parked 2 houses away and walked to them. They escorted Adaora quietly to the car. When she entered, she exhaled sharply, like someone taking their first breath after drowning. Amora squeezed her hand. "Be strong." Adaora whispered, "Thank you for saving me." Chiamaka started the engine. "Let's disappear before anyone sees us." The car pulled away. Amora watched until it vanished around the corner. She didn't know the girl well, but she knew this. Her life had been ripped open today. And so had Amora's, because protecting Adaora meant she was now part of the battle. A battle against a man who didn't like losing. A man who wasn't finished. A man who might come after them next. Hours later, Amora sat on the living room floor, leaning against the couch, staring blankly at the wall. The adrenaline had finally drained from her system, leaving only exhaustion and fear behind. Darlington sat beside her silently. He had tried 3 times to speak, and each time she held up her hand. She wasn't ready. Not to fight. Not to argue. Not to unravel the emotional chaos inside her. Only silence made sense. Finally, she spoke softly. "You should have told me." Darlington nodded. "I know. You should have called me." "I know. You should have trusted me." "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I really am." Amora exhaled. "I thought you were cheating. I walked into this house thinking my marriage was over." Darlington lowered his head. "I caused that." "But this," she said, shaking her head, voice trembling. "This is something else entirely. Something dangerous." Darlington's jaw tightened. "I didn't want to drag you into trouble." "Marriage is trouble," she said softly. "We face things together." He swallowed hard. I was scared. Of me? She asked bitterly. No, he whispered. Of losing you if anything happened. You're braver than me. Amora, you face storms. He sighed, I hide. Amora looked at him for a long moment. Something in her softened, but before she could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number again. Her breath caught. Darlington stiffened. Don't pick. Amora ignored him and answered. Hello. A cold, calm voice replied. So you're brave now. Her blood froze. Inspector Chibuza. She didn't speak. He continued. You think you won today? You think that lawyer can save you? You think cameras are enough to fight men like me? Amora's hand trembled. Darlington mouthed, End the call. She didn't. Chibuza lowered his voice. You're now part of this, and I don't forgive. Amora's eyes widened. He continued softly, almost whispering. Tell your husband to sleep with one eye open. Click. The call ended. Darlington grabbed her phone, staring at it like it was poison. Amora, what did he say? Amora swallowed hard, voice barely escaping her throat. He made a threat. Darlington's face turned pale. What kind of threat? She finally looked at him. Her voice was barely a whisper. The kind that changes everything. The apartment is still. The generator hummed low like a guilty conscience. Amaka sits at the dining table, Tunde's tablet open after 3 failed guesses and 1 lucky slide of his late-night birth date. A folder named Simeon Projects looks harmless until she opens a ledger. Every month, a transfer-labeled family trust leaves their joint savings, amounts that could pay a year's school fees. Another column lists a woman's name, Kimi Adebayo, beside medical support, accommodation, and security retainer. Her chest tightens. Medical? Accommodation? Security? For who? She scrolls. There's a sub-tab, Yaba Trip, Receipts. Tunde has never mentioned Yaba. The receipts show payments to a small maternity clinic and a short-let apartment near Tejuosho. A final row. Contingency, 1,200,000 Nigerian nairas. Discretion. Discretion for what? Zainab, her best friend, arrives quietly. You haven't slept? She says, catching the tablet's reflection in Amaka's eyes. I thought you said there was another woman in the house. I saw a woman, a young one, hiding, Amaka whispers. I saw Tunde's arm around her. She swallows. What if it's Kimi? They cross-check the account numbers, screen record every page, and email the files to a private address Zainab created. Amaka's hands tremble, not from anger. This time it's a fear of being wrong and right at the same time. At dawn, a message pops up on Tunde's tablet. Delivery confirmed. She's safer now. No name, just a phone number with no contact saved. Cliffhanger, Amaka copies a number and dials on her own phone. A woman answers on the 3rd ring. Hello? The voice is tired and sounds like it has been crying. The woman on the line calls herself Kimi and suggests a public place, the outdoor section at Freedom Park. Don't bring anyone, she says. It'll make her panic. Huh? Amaka's mind fires off possibilities. Girlfriend, sister, secret child, blackmailer. Zainab insists on shadowing from a distance. If anything looks off, I'll call the police. They map a meet-and-watch plan like 2 women who refuse to remain naive. At Freedom Park, Kimi is smaller than Amaka imagined, dark-skinned, delicate cheekbones, a faded scarf, eyes that don't sit still. She studies Amaka's face and decides to trust her. It isn't what you think, Kimi says. Tunde isn't cheating on you. He's paying for protection, for a girl who would be dead without it. Amaka's laugh is raw. Protection? From who? Kimi glances around. From a man who thinks she belongs to him. A man with boys in Soyulir who do collections. She lowers her voice. A man your husband can't fight openly without exposing Sei. The name lands like a pebble in a still lake. Sei, Tunde's younger brother. Always charming. Always in some trouble he dresses ambition. Kimi pulls out her phone and shows a photo. The same girl Amaka glimpsed at home. Eyes swollen from crying. A bruise barely fading under makeup. Her name is Adiz. She was involved with Say before she knew who he really owed. When he ran out of road, they came for her instead. Then why hide her in my house? Amaka's voice cracks. Why not tell me? Because if you know, Kimi says gently, you're a target. If they pick you up and you don't know where Deez is today, you can't give them anything. Cliffhanger, Kimi's phone buzzes. A text flashes. They are asking around Yaba again. Move tonight. Kimi looks up. We need your help, or we move her alone and pray. They take a boat to Yaba before sunset. Zainab, still shadowing, rides behind in another car. The short-let apartment is clean but temporary. A packed bag sits by the door, ready for flight. Adiz emerges from a bedroom, dark-skinned, soft-spoken, carrying the kind of exhaustion no sleep cures. I'm sorry you saw me in your house, she says, not meeting Amaka's eyes. I panicked. What is Say mixed up in? Amaka asks. I want all of it. No politeness. Kimi and Adiz exchange a look. Then Kimi starts. Say borrowed to chase a nightlife tech idea, VIP concierge, crypto side bets, small import deals. When the market turned, he kept borrowing. When the lenders changed faces, it was too late. The man at the center is called Odogu, not the social kind, the kind who sends boys in the night to renegotiate terms. Why is Tunde paying? Amaka asks. Because Tunde always cleans Say's mess, Kimi replies. But this time, money wasn't enough. Odogu wanted leverage. Say vanished. They came for me, 4 Ds. Tunde moved us, paid the clinic when she fell ill, and told me to keep you out of it. He said the only safe wife is the one who can swear she doesn't know. Amaka's anger turns to something fiercer, protective, pragmatic. If we keep running, we never stop, she says. Odogu must have receipts. People he pays. Patterns. There's a way to make his boys step back. My cousin at SCID Ikoyi owes me a call. Zainab texts from outside. Ready when you are. Cliffhanger. As they plan, footsteps pause outside the door. A knuckle taps twice. Slow. Kimi's face drains. We weren't followed, she whispers. The handle twists. Tunde steps in. For a full beat, no one breathes. Tunde registers the room. The packed bag, the faces, the fear, and closes the door quietly. Amaka, he says, voice low, I should have told you. I wanted you safe. He looks to Adiz. You're moving tonight. New place, different route. Safe from who? Amaka asks, anger and relief crashing like waves. From your brother's mistakes. Tunde nods once. From my mistakes. 2. I thought money could buy time. I thought if you didn't know, you couldn't be dragged in. He exhales. It's worse now. Say reached out. He's ready to turn himself in if I guarantee Adiz is protected. He has voice notes, bank trails, even a video of Odogu's boy collecting cash at a car wash in Soryule. Then we stop running. Amaka says. We take this to the police, properly. Tunde meets her eyes. Sid. Amaka's chin lifts. Sid. And we do it by the book. Paper trails. Witness statements. No cousin's cousin. Real officers who won't sell us. A plan takes shape. Kimi and Adiz will ride with Zainab to a safe contact house in Bagada. Amaka and Tunde will meet Inspector Bayo at SCID Ikoyi with a ledger, the receipts, and Say's files. Tunde places a small tracker on Kimi's pack bag. If the worst happens on the road, at least they'll know where. Before they split, Tunde turns to Amaka. I'm sorry, he says, voice roll, for the secrecy, for choosing fear over trust. Amaka swallows. If we survive this, we rebuild with no locked doors. Cliffhanger, her phone vibrates. A new message from an unknown number. Wrong move. We see you. Attached is a grainy photo, Amaka leaving Freedom Park with Kimi. Hook. With threats closing in, Amaka and Tunde carry the evidence straight into SCID Ikoyi and discover help where they least expect it. They park 2 streets away and walk the last block under the weight of the city's heat and their own choices. Inside SCID, the air smells like paper and patience. They ask for Inspector Bayo. A tall man with tired eyes appears, scans their faces, and nods them into a small office with a fan that squeaks with every rotation. Start from beginning, Bayo says, hitting record on a voice device. They do. No embellishments, just hard facts. The ledger, the clinic payments, the shortlet, the text, the voice note saved forwarded minutes earlier. Bayo listens, interrupting only to clarify timelines. He doesn't flinch when he hears Odogu's name. He writes it down like a number he has dialed before. This is enough for a quiet pickup, he says finally. But I'll need to keep both of you reachable. If he senses pressure, he may send boys to make noise around your home. Amaka straightens. We've moved the girl. Good, Bayo replies. You did the right thing coming here. But Odogu has eyes. Till we move, you'll need controlled routines. Wake, church, school runs, no sudden corners. And don't answer unknown numbers. If anything feels off, you call me first. He slides a card across the desk. As they leave the office, a young officer hurries in with a file. Bayo flips it open, expression tightening. He turns a file for them to see. Surveillance stills from a broader investigation. Odogu at the same Tijoshokawa Wasei mentioned, exchanging a black nylon bag for a handshake. You're not the only victims, Bayo says. This photo came from another case. Your evidence adds weight. Outside, the sky over Ikoyi bruises toward evening. Tunde touches Amaka's shoulder as if asking permission. This time, she lets him. They step into the compound's light, a little closer than before, not from romance but from resolve. Amaka's phone buzzes again, unknown number. She sends it to voicemail, then opens a message from Zainab instead. We're safe. Bagada reached. Lock your doors. And Amaka, be brave. Brave is the only option, she murmurs. Cliffhanger, Bayo calls within the hour. We have a window. Tonight. If we miss it, he goes cold. In the background, the squeaky fan keeps time. Amaka, I'll need you and Tunde to identify a courier on site. Can you do that? Amaka looks at Tunde, and for the first time in days, they answer together. Yes. Inspector Bayo's instructions were clear. Tonight is a window. Odogu is sending one of his couriers to pick up a package at Oberland Roundabout. We tail him quietly. If we can confirm the drop site, we get a warrant at dawn. Amaka shivered as a plan replayed in her mind. This wasn't TV. This wasn't fiction. This was her life, her marriage, her safety on the line. She and Tunde sat in their car near Dolphin Estate Gate, waiting for Bayo's signal. The streets hummed with Lagos nightlife. Hawkers shouted pure water, and streetlights flickered over Danfo buses rushing past like impatient hornets. Tunde glanced at her. You don't have to be here. Yes, I do, Amaka said quietly. I'm in this now. Fully. He looked relieved, not because he wanted her in danger, but because he had finally stopped hiding. At 8:47 p.m., Bayo called. Our courier is a skinny guy, yellow shirt, brown envelope. He'll stand near the big MTN billboard. Tunde started the car. As they approached Oberland, everything felt louder. Shouting drivers, vendors waving plantain chips, Okada engines revving. The chaotic city felt like a perfect place to disappear. There, Amaka whispered, pointing. A young man in a yellow shirt leaned against a kiosk, a plain brown envelope tucked under his arm. His eyes scanned the road too frequently. Bayo's car slid beside there silently. He spoke through the window. Stay behind me. Do not get too close. He's paranoid. The courier received the text, checked his watch, then crossed the street. He flagged a bike. The Okada rider nodded and took off with him. Bayo cursed under his breath. He's going fast. Follow, but don't lose that bike. Tunde drove with steady urgency, weaving between buses. Left! Amaka shouted. Another left. The bike sped into a narrow street in Ikoyi. Bayo's car followed. Tunde stayed 2 cars behind, trying not to look suspicious. Finally, the courier stopped in front of a decrepit house painted dull brown. No gate, no light, just a flickering bulb and shadows. The courier knocked twice. A man opened the door, large, broad-shouldered, carrying influence in the way he stood. That's him, Bayo whispered. Odogu was second in command. The courier handed the envelope over. The man slipped him a small nylon bag. Two other men hovered inside the dim doorway. Bayo lowered his voice, firm and dangerous. Confirmed. He turned to Amaka and Tunde. Go home. Now. We got what we need. They nodded. Tunde reversed quietly and joined the main road. But something felt off. Amaka's heart thumped louder. Her skin tingled. Her instincts twisted. Tunde, she whispered, I think we're being followed. Tunde glanced at the mirror. A black Toyota with tinted windows stayed behind them. Too deliberately. Too close. Don't panic, he whispered. But panic was already blooming in her chest. The Toyota sped up. Then, high beams flashed. Tunde cursed. Odogu's boys. Amaka grabbed the dashboard. Tunde, Gio. The chase exploded. They swerved through traffic. Okodas scattered. Bystanders jumped back. The Toyota stayed glued to them. Tunde. I see them. They sped past a roundabout, tires screeching. Then, a loud bang. Something hit the back of their car. Tunde, they're ramming us. Another hit. Harder. He struggled to keep control. Amaka cried out. Then suddenly, a siren blared. Bayo's car flew into view from the right, sliding between them and the Toyota, blocking their path. The Toyota swerved, almost flipping. Bayo shouted through the megaphone. Back off. Law enforcement. The Toyota reversed recklessly, tires screeching, then sped away. Amaka collapsed in her seat, shaking. Tunde turned to her, eyes wide with fear. You okay? She nodded slowly. Barely. Bayo came to her window. This confirms everything, he said. You two need protection. Amaka whispered, Are we safe? Bayo's jaw tightened. You're safer than you were 5 minutes ago. But this ends tomorrow. Early morning raid. We're bringing Odogu down. Amaka felt hope flicker. For the first time. They barely slept. By 5:14 a.m., Bayo's call woke them. Be ready. We're going in at first light. Amaka dressed quickly, hands trembling. Tunde put on his shoes in silence. They drove to SEID Ikoyi, where a convoy of police trucks waited, armed officers, tactical gear, bulletproof vests. Bayo stood at the front, barking orders. This is a targeted arrest. No stray shots. No panic. Odogu is armed and desperate. He turned to Amaka and Tunde. You two stay in the van. No heroics. They nodded. The team moved out. Ikoyi streets glowed gold under the rising sun. Banners fluttered. Suya smoke lingered, and Lagos woke slowly. The target house looked even uglier in daylight. Odogu's base. Bayo raised his fist. Officers moved like a coordinated machine. 2 flanked the back door. 3 moved to the front. Another team circled the sides. Bayo yelled, Police! Open the door! Silence! He signaled. They forced the door. Chaos burst inside, shouting, heavy boots, commands bouncing off walls. Amaka watched from the van, heart pounding. She squeezed Tunde's hand tightly. Minutes felt like hours. Then, 2 men were dragged out in handcuffs. Then another. Finally, Odogu, tall, muscular, arrogant. He smirked even while cuffed. Amaka felt her skin crawl at the sight of him. He saw her. His eyes narrowed. He whispered something to himself. Bayo shoved him toward the truck. Your reign ends today. Odogu smiled. You don't know who backs me. We'll see, Bayo replied coldly. The raid continued. Phone seized, bag collected, weapons piled in evidence boxes. Amaka finally unclenched. Is this real? She whispered. Is it really over? But just then, a loud snap echoed through the compound. An officer yelled, Down! Gunfire erupted from the back of the building. Someone tried to escape. Bayo sprinted toward the sound. Tunde! Amaka cried, grabbing his arm to stop him from running. Another shot. Another shout. More footsteps. Moments later, Bayo returned carrying a seized weapon. False alarm, he said. One stupid boy thought he could shoot. He's in custody. Amaka's knees nearly buckled. Bayo approached the van. You two saved a lot of girls today, he said. You did the right thing. Amaka nodded, tears swelling. Tunde finally breathed deeply. We're free, he asked. Bayo nodded. Yes, it's over. But Otogu's smile replayed in Amaka's mind, and she wasn't so sure. The news broke everywhere by afternoon. Dreaded syndicate leader arrested in a Koi police operation. Otogu, 8 others in custody. Weapons, cash, drugs seized. Everyone in Amaka's estate buzzed with gossip. Neighbors whispered. Security guards stared. Phones rang nonstop. By evening, Adiz and Kimi were safely transported to a women's protection NGO. Zainab sent Amaka pictures of them smiling softly. Safe, finally safe. Amaka cried seeing them. At home, things felt quieter than she expected. Quieter and heavier. She stood by the kitchen window quietly. Tunde approached her gently. You haven't spoken since we returned. I'm thinking, she murmured. About what? She turned to face him. About the fact that all this happened right under my nose. About the girl in my house. About your fear. About your secrets. About us. Tunde lowered his head. I know I broke your trust. Yes, she said plainly. But I never betrayed you, he added. She hesitated. That's true. Tunde stepped closer. I want to fix us. I want transparency. Honesty. No shadows. Amaka looked into his eyes and saw guilt, fear, love, regret, hope. She exhaled. Let's start again. Slowly. He nodded gratefully. I'll learn it. Every day. They hugged, but it wasn't the warm, easy hug of old. It was a hug of two people learning each other again. That night, as they lay in bed, Amaka checked her phone. A new message. Unknown number. Her heart stopped. You think you won. Check your back. She sat upright instantly. Tunde woke. What's wrong? She handed him the phone. He paled. This wasn't Otogu's number, he whispered. This came from a different contact. Amaka's skin chilled. If he's in custody, then who sent this? Bayo arrived at their house the next morning. We traced the number, he said. It's not Otogu. It belongs to someone else. Who? Amaka asked anxiously. Bayo hesitated. Then he said it. Say. Tunde staggered backward. No, that's impossible. He promised. Bayo raised a hand. We brought him in for questioning. He confessed some things, but not everything. What did he hide? Amaka asked. A second debt, Bayo revealed. A bigger one. Not under Otogu. Under someone named Chief Dollar. A man even deeper in the underground economy. Tunde sank into a chair. Bayo continued. Turns out Say tried to run again after speaking with us. Chief Dollar's boys saw him. He panicked, and instead of warning us, he warned you. Amaka stared blankly. We're not safe, she whispered. You are, Bayo said firmly. We put a watch on your street. We're tracking the number. Say is now in protective custody, more for his own safety than yours. Amaka swallowed hard. Any more secrets I should know? She asked Tunde quietly. Tunde's eyes filled with shame. No, he whispered. Never again. Bayo stood. This is a final thread. Once we cut it, everything ends. He turned to leave, then paused. Amaka. Yes. You're stronger than most people I've worked with. If not for you, that girl wouldn't be alive. Remember that. She nodded silently. The house felt too quiet again, too heavy again. But this time, Amaka felt something new inside her. Strength, clarity, purpose. She wasn't afraid anymore. 2 weeks later, life settled slightly. Adiz started therapy, supported by the NGO. Kimi moved into a safer apartment. Otogu was denied bail. Sei began cooperating fully, exposing every debt trail. And Amaka? She started healing. One evening, she walked into the bedroom, the same room where everything began, and paused. The door, the silence, the shadows. This room had held lies, fear, betrayal, secrets, danger, but it also held survival, courage, transformation. She sat on the bed, breathing slowly. Tunde entered behind her. "May I?" he asked softly. She nodded. He sat beside her and held her hand gently. "Amaka," he said quietly, "thank you for not giving up on me." "I almost did," she admitted. "But I realized something." "What?" "People fall," she whispered. "But what matters is who gets back up, and how." He squeezed her hand. "So where do we go from here?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "We rebuild." Together, they stood and closed the bedroom door. This time, it didn't feel threatening. It didn't hold secrets. It held choice. Amaka opened the window and let sunlight rush in, warm, bright, healing. Her life wasn't perfect. Her marriage wasn't perfect. But she had survived everything the shadows threw at her. And she came out stronger, more aware, more confident, more fearless. The story didn't end with a door she opened quietly. It ended with a door she closed boldly, and the new one she opened next.